Hello everybody and welcome to the sixth video in our series of videos on the American War of Independence. As always, we begin with our learning outcomes, so by the end of this presentation you guys should know one strength and one weakness of the British and the Continental Army. Second, you guys should know what contributed to foreign powers offering aid to the colonists. And third, you guys should know what happened at Valley Forge and why it was so significant. Today we are going to start by looking at the strengths and weaknesses of both the British and the Continental or American armies. The British had a few things going for them. They were well trained, well drilled, and a professional army with 4 times as many soldiers as the Continental Army. Whereas the main advantage that the Continental Army had was their knowledge of the countryside. They used this to launch guerrilla tactics, which are hit and run tactics. So instead of having battles with the British, they would surprise the British with an attack and retreat to the woodlands. However, both armies had their issues. The Continental Army were mainly part-time militiamen who would regularly desert or not re-enlist when their enlistment time was up. They also weren't as professional as the British Army or as well trained. However, the British Army also had problems in that they did have little knowledge of the land, and this left them susceptible to surprise attacks by the Continental Army. They also had problems with desertion, as many of their soldiers were actually not British but paid mercenaries from other countries. Most famously, the Hessians from Germany made up a large contingent of the British Army. The Hessians would be in this uniform you see here on the left, as opposed to the red coat uniform on the right. Now, the last time we saw the Continental Army, they had launched 2 assaults across the Delaware at Trenton and Princeton. But the biggest success of 1777 came further north. While Washington continued fighting around Philadelphia, a general called Horatio Gates was in charge of the Continental Army further north, and he secured a famous victory at Saratoga. The success in battle was crucial in America. It led to them getting help against the British from other European countries like Spain, Holland, and most importantly, France. This showed them that the Americans could win, and France in particular, they wanted revenge for the defeats they had faced at the hands of the British in the 7 Years' War. So in 1778, the Treaty of Alliance was officially signed, and the French had been helping prior to this, and one of the most famous generals who came to help was a man called the Marquis of Lafayette. He would be crucial also in the beginning of the French Revolution and got one of the coolest nicknames of all time, and that would be the Liberator of Two Worlds, because he would be a key part in the American War of Independence and also in the French Revolution. But the Marquis of Lafayette, he came before the treaty was signed and would have been influential in making sure that the French knew that the Americans could win. He fought with Washington in the biggest battle of 1777 for Washington, and this was the Battle of Brandywine. However, this turned out to be an unsuccessful campaign, and it was here that the British took the capital city of Philadelphia, which is in Pennsylvania. However, both Lafayette and Washington conducted themselves bravely. Now, with the loss of Philadelphia, Washington was forced to retreat to Valley Forge for the winter of 1777, and it was a tough winter. It was extremely cold. They had a lack of provisions. Half of the army deserted, and even more were dying from diseases. But Washington was determined to address the major weakness of his army. That was how unprofessional and poorly trained they were. And with the help of a German drill master known as Baron von Steuben, they actually emerged from this hell in Valley Forge in June of 1777 as a well-drilled and much better organised army. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. So by now you guys should know a strength and a weakness of both the British and the Continental Army. You guys should know what contributed to the foreign powers of France and Spain offering aid to the colonists, And third, you guys should know what happened to Valley Forge and why it was so significant. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys got something good from this video.